Thank you for the hydrate, dude. I'm gonna be so well hydrated tonight. Well, welcome everyone. Come on in, get comfy. We're going to be hanging out with our friend MoonPhased tonight. Just giving everybody some time to get in, get settled, get your project, get something to drink. We've got our cozy background going on. As always, if you want to change up the vibes, you can do that. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can just ask to change the vibes. If you're watching this on Twitch, there is a redeem for that. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. The critter cam is once again down for maintenance, but because we're hanging out with MoonPhased today, I just have a little stream of hers going in the corner. There's going to be a slight delay, so you're going to hear her voice maybe a minute before you see her hands explaining what she's talking about. But it's always nice to see what everyone else is working on. We are going to be cross-stitch and chillin' all through the evening. Just move. Oh no, it goes my pattern. Oh no. Just moving my pattern keeper over here. Rearranging my desk a little bit. Because my eyes are old and tired and I can't see it too far away. Tonight I am working on my latest obsession, my newest obsession, my one is truest love? Question mark? No, not one is truest. That would require me to actually be project monogamous. But definitely my new obsession, which is full coverage. I get the hype now. I get the hype. It's a different vibe from other stitching, and I get the hype. Especially on this pre-gridded Ava. I don't think that's where I meant to put that stitch, but that's okay. It works. Thanks for this, Nick Hearts, dude. Oh, it looks like it's Unitreat time over on Moon's stream. Very important part of any stream, definitely, would be the feeding children treats. I would do that, but I'm a terrible father, and I haven't restocked my treat drawer yet. So, no treats for my children. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll add some to groceries. Some, like, different treats. I'm such a sucker, though, because if they come over to me and they look even the slightest, remotest bit sad, I will give them treats for just being cute. Speaking of my children, someone's creeping up on us now. I know, I created a wall of drinks in front of you. Here, move this one. Bella's trying to come and say hello. Well, I hope everyone is having a lovely middle of the week. That your week's going well. And if you've wanted to get a lot of stuff done, I hope you got a lot of stuff done. And if you wanted to take care of yourself this week, I hope that is going well for you as well. I got some design work done this morning, so a new cross-stitch pattern coming to the shop soon. But otherwise, I've just been kind of chilling, vibing, doing some cross-stitch. And here's Bella. Hey, Bells. Yeah, you a good girl? The all cross-stitch and kitty streams. That's what we're here for. That's our branding now. Hiya. Hiya, hiya, hiya. So yes, I was saying I've been working on this full coverage piece, which I'm very excited about. I used a pattern generator. Okay. Toot. Redeeming changed the vibes. Let's just get those changed up for you. I'll put some thunder on for Toot. Some rumbly thunder. Toot says thank you. Something about the bugs. Sorry guys, hang on one second. Sorry about that, guys. Making sure my camera's all good. Making sure. Let's see. Nope. Nerp. Just making sure all my windows are back up the way they're supposed to be. Okie dokie. Alright, we're back. We're back. Everything's fine. So I am working on this pattern, which is a computer-generated pattern of my favorite piece of art, which is an oil painting by J.E.H. MacDonald. I just used a program called Pick to Pat. I didn't do any cleaning up. No, that's actually a lie. I did do quite a bit of cleaning up. I didn't do any kind of redesigning of the pixels, but I did quite a bit of cleaning up of the color palette. Just basically condensing it, because when you do a computer generated pattern, you can give the program several different different parameters that you want it to do, so like maximum number of colors and that kind of thing, and then it chooses what it thinks are the optimal colors based on the number of colors that you put in. So I basically generated the pattern, loaded it up into Pattern Keeper, And then I went through and I looked at the colors that only had a couple of only a few stitches in them, and combined those with colors that had more stitches so that I was doing fewer colors. I also took a look at the overall palette and tweaked some of the colors to lighten up the import a little bit, because the process of importing it made it quite a bit darker. All right, guys, so we are going to say hello to MoonPhased. Give us 1 second.
Hello, DH.
Hello, Moon.
Hi.
All right, let me know if you guys can hear her okay.
I think that you will... I'm looking at my OBS to fix it, but...
I know, I'm also looking at my OBS to fix it.
Streamer.
Yeah. Livestream audio adjustments.
Yes. How are you doing today, DH?
I'm doing okay. I've got Bella here with me, who's being a little bit of a menace, keeps knocking over my drinks and such.
Of course, it's Bella.
I know. I'm trying to keep her from destroying the world while still giving her lots of love.
I love that for her.
Yeah, I know.
And I set up my stream so that I would be able to show your stream as well tonight.
Oh, nice. I have my stream set up, so I'm showing your stream.
I know. So, because last time I saw that and I was like, oh my god, how can I do that too? So you guys will actually be able to see what DH is doing in my screen as well. So that way when we're
Cool. I was actually just talking about what I'm working on. So this is my full coverage piece, which I generated using a program called Pick to Pat from my favorite piece of artwork, which is Tangled Garden by J.E.H. MacDonald. And what I did was, after using the computer program to generate it, to generate the pattern, I loaded it up into Pattern Keeper, and then I went through the colors and the palette that the computer automatically chose, and I kind of just cleaned up the colors a bit. I combined different colors that only had a few stitches each, and then I went through and I lightened up the palette a little bit because it was quite a bit dark, and a lot of the spaces that I wanted to be green were like more of a brown. So I made those spaces greener, put in brighter greens, and then whatever was black, I turned into like a dark brown. So that lightened it up quite a bit as well, which is actually what I'm working with right now. It's the darkest brown. So I can show you guys the, oops, I think I'm on the wrong scene because Bella was stepping on my keyboard. Okay, cool. No, it was not. It was not. Sorry. So this is my entry for Tangled Garden. So this is the original art piece here. And sorry, Moon, can you speak again? Bella's messing with all of my settings.
I'm speaking right now.
Okay. I think that's good.
Has Bella made me unhearable?
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, thank you for the follow. So much for the follow. Midnight. Yay, hi Midnight. Hello.
Midnight is coming into your chat to be a menace and hydrate you.
I know, right? That's what's happening. So this is we're just moving Bella for the moment because she's being a bit of a menace. Okay. So what I was saying, just redeemed hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate, Midnight. But so this is the original art piece here at the bottom. And then this is kind of the computer generated pattern version of it. So I generated it for 16 count fabric, and the piece is about 13 by 15 inches. So you can see that like the colors are quite a bit darker between the two pieces. So that's why I was and then this side, the kind of left side, it's quite a bit greener in the original, and then it very much browner in the modded one. So that's why I went in and adjusted the colors and that kind of thing. But I'm really happy with the vibrancy that I got out of the pattern here.
It looks so good, and honestly, like, I didn't even know that you had to do a lot of like post edits after the generation.
Thank you.
So it's really cool that you changed everything, or a lot of things. The palette.
Yes. Yeah, no, it was, sorry, I just have to adjust a few settings, stream life.
Absolutely.
I have to make sure my captions especially are quite finicky about, like, what order my windows are in, so whenever I go to change anything, I then have to, like, change all of my windows.
Okay. Oh, God.
All right. Okay, I am all set up here. I'm gonna close this so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the pattern that I'm working on. So you can actually see, if you take a mental photo of this, and then you can actually see I'm working on that large sunflower that's in the middle. So that's the part that I'm working on right here. And I need to do this. Okay. All right, so thank you, Midnight, for the follow. Welcome in. I am going to hydrate as you have requested, and enjoy your learning. I have several delicious things to drink with me today. My neurodivergence of drinks is ginger ale with grenadine.
Oh, that sounds yummy.
It's very yummy. Cherry peach punch and a cherry frost Gatorade. I like cherry.
A lot of cherry. I was gonna say grenadine and cherry punch stuff. That sounds... Yes. I have plain water because my neurodivergence of drinks is coffee and water, because I get overstimulated by a lot of other stuff.
That's very fair. Very, very fair.
I will sometimes have a singular soda.
I mean, ginger ale is the best.
Yeah, ginger ale and what's the word? Root beer for me.
Yeah,
anyone who's a fan of root beer? Is A&W root beer I go feral for.
So what are you working on, Moon?
I'm working on the Deadly Aquarium, and the newest clue that dropped, as you know, but as some other people may not know, is the little bit of coral that I just put up on screen. Each clue so far had critters in it. And so we had the seagull with the frame for the first clue. Then we had the green Murray eel for the second one. And we had the pufferfish for the third one. And now the fourth... Oh, I guess it's the fourth. Yeah, I guess the frame didn't count as a clue.
Yeah.
But, words. So every clue so far had a critter. So we had the seagulls, the Murray eel, the pufferfish. So I guess now the living creature is the coral. Yeah. And it's looking so great so far. Like, DH and I were actually talking about how we were surprised with how vibrant it is. Yeah. Because the palette looks very limited. So it's very surprising that it doesn't look like murky or really dark.
Yeah, the palette does look, it's a lot of like browns and grays and then like there's a few different greens, but it's been really like every exhibit has been really super bright. So I'm really excited to see what's coming up next. So the next one will drop on Friday. Toot says hate root beer. Toot does not hate root beer.
In my chat, Anna says that she actually does hate root beer and says that it tastes like toothpaste.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which makes sense because what was it I was talking with Tooth about the other day, that it has wintergreen in it or something?
Yes, the main,
or like it's wintergreen.
The main ingredients is wintergreen.
Yeah, so it I guess it makes sense that it tastes like toothpaste to you, Anna.
So you're working across the coral right now, I can see?
Yes, I'm working on the red piece. Then I'm almost done with this color. Nice. And by almost, I mean, 24 stitches. Nice. So once that's done, I'll move over to the lighter coral, which is going to be pink.
All right, that's a good plan. I found that the coral was fun to do, but it was also very kind of brain-breaking.
Yes. Because as you guys can see, there you can't see it so well in the red. You can see it a bit better in the yellow. Like there are two colors. So and like here you can see with the red, it's very much like an explosion of confetti stitches. So it's a lot of counting and making sure that the stitches are in the right spot. And which is, like DH said, fun, but also a lot of brain power compared to, for example, the frame that was just filling in rows.
Yeah.
But less fun.
Yeah, it was definitely like confetti on crack. It was
confetti on crack. I like that.
Because like it was confetti, but it wasn't like confetti that was far apart. It was really compact confetti.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Are you working it? Are you trying to do it in rows like Danish, or are you working more English style? English being doing one cross at a time.
I'm more doing English, just because I like to travel back and forth instead of like going in one direction, especially because it's like branches.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, with that kind of organic shape, I found that doing English was a lot just more, it felt more natural.
Oh, really? Yeah, for me, like, if you look right now, I'm basically doing like half stitches all the way up the branch, and then I'll go back all the way down the branch. Instead of doing Danish in rows, I'm doing Danish in clusters.
Yep.
Like I'm doing the legs in all one direction and then coming back.
That makes sense. I often do that as well. Although I am starting to do more and more English. Like you can kind of see that I'm doing English right now with this piece. Even in this section, which I could have done a little bit of Danish for. But, I'm finding that with the full coverage that I'm working on, it's just a lot easier to work one square at a time. And
for sure. Like I find that if a color doesn't have many stitches close together, then English method just works so much better.
Yeah.
Because you're not like carrying the loss back and forth as much.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's like less bulk on the back of the piece for me because I don't have those long crosses. But also I was getting like really up in my head about figuring out the most efficient way to stitch.
Yeah.
And like the way that would use the least amount of floss. And that's just that's a lot of management to do on a stitch by stitch basis.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm just I'm not about living that life. So I'm just kind of doing English, and it's like, ooh, that stitch needs to be done. Ooh, this stitch needs to be done, and going all over the place. So
Yeah, I totally get you with the thread efficiency, because when I started, I was very concerned about that. And then the more I was stitching, I was sometimes like getting knots that were just impossible to undo, and I was getting so frustrated. I was like, you know what? Let me just cut off this whole section. And just like more and more, I started getting less concerned about floss, because like there are literally skeins that I bought for like a project that I only need to use one piece of floss, and it's like, so clearly when you're buying for a project, most of the time you don't even need the full skein. So like, why am I saving? You know, like clearly I'm probably gonna have this skein for like years on end. So
yeah, for sure. And I'm trying to like take that in, and especially floss is not very expensive. Like if you're kitting up an entire project, that much floss can be very expensive, but
yeah,
a single skein of floss is not very expensive. Thank you so much
in
for
most
the hydrate,
places
too.
In most places it would be $1.50. So if you're, and that's kind of like what we say sometimes, that cross stitch is kind of budget friendly. Because like for most projects, yeah, it depends if you get into the very expensive high-end stuff, but if you're taking, you know, a pattern on Etsy, most of the time there are going to be $20 or less. The pattern is going to be about $10 or less, and then there are going to be 20 colors or less. So even if you're starting from scratch with the fabric, you're getting a project that will take you many hours to do for what, under $50?
Yeah,
and then
sure.
Most of the floss you have left over for more projects in the future. So it's kind of the kind of hobby that why did my music stop? Interesting. It just paused randomly. Squirrel. I don't know I don't remember what I was saying.
We're talking about how entry-level cross stitch is quite affordable.
Oh yeah, yes. So yeah, like if you compare it to like going somewhere to do an activity or buying a new game and stuff like that, it can be quite affordable for the amount of hours that you're going to put into it.
Yeah, for sure. I thank you for the squirrel redeem, Toot. Like I always compare it to knitting, of course, because knitting is what I know best other than cross stitch. And just in terms of the amount of hours of work you get out of, like the amount of, not work, but the amount of hours of enjoyment you get out of a project, cross stitch is cheaper and takes up way less room. Like way less room.
That's true. All of my cross stitch material is basically contained in like, I can't really show you guys, but 3 of those boxes.
Yeah.
I can't even show it. 3 of those boxes. It's
and
like
even,
a bead compartment thing.
Yeah, and even on top of that, like there's a lower barrier of entry in terms of technique and materials. Yes. Like for knitting, you kind of have to be good at knitting before you can knit.
Yeah.
And you can also have to know about different weights of yarn and types of yarn before you pick out yarn for a project. Whereas cross stitch, it's all the same floss pretty much, unless you're getting into fancy stuff. Welcome in Mangoes. Mango sobs in a whole bin of yarn. Yeah, exactly. It takes up a lot of space. But cross stitch supplies do not.
Indeed. Which is pretty great because that was kind of a concern of mine when I started. I was like, how much? Because in general, in the past, I've always picked up stuff and then immediately dropped it like a few months later. So like that was kind of one of my concerns when Toot and DH brought up the cross stitch hobby to me. And then I was like, well, what if I don't finish anything. It's just gonna be in my house forever. And they were like, but look how cheap it is. Look how little room it takes. And I was like, all right, you got me.
And now, a year later,
I'm doing a stitch along. I have 3 boxes of floss. I have multiple finished pieces. I am part of a cross-stitch cult. Yep.
And Mango says that they like the variety of projects they can get with knitting. That is true, because that's one question that I get asked a lot with cross-stitch is like, so what can you do with cross-stitch when you're finished? And I would say it is like the range of stuff you can make is smaller.
Yeah.
And it is mostly, like, I'd say it's entirely decorative, whereas some knitting can be more functional. But yeah, that's why they're both great hobbies to know.
Mm-hmm.
And Toot says we effectively bullied Moon. It was excellent. Yes, we did bully Moon.
Yes. This is not an invitation to bully me. Because recently, I was getting bullied by Midnight Entity and other friends. And Toot had to, well, not had to, but Toot came to my rescue in Midnight's chat, screaming, "No bully Moon!"
Yes, only we're allowed to bully Moon, and it's only into learning new crafts for Moon's own good.
Absolutely. Only bully me into betterment. I'm trying to remember. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just reading a comment. Mango inherited all their mom's cross-stitch stuff. She loved it for a while, but got into plants. Yeah, that can happen when you just hyper-focus moves on. But the nice thing about cross-stitch is the stuff ages, but some of it doesn't go bad. Like, I'd say vintage floss can definitely be more difficult to work with. But
because it is cotton, so it will degrade over time.
Yeah.
But if you stored it in, with a minimum of care, like in a box, it will degrade much less fast than, if it was in the sun or if it was outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which is interesting because recently, a few months ago, Anna went to a thrift shop and found some vintage DMC. And you can tell that they were older because DMC has... Do I have a DMC label somewhere?
Yes, you sent me a bunch of that stash.
Yeah. And so this is like a plastic thing that is around a skein. And it's very much plastic. But... somewhere along the years, DMC changed to these plastic things because before they were made out of paper. And you can tell that the skeins that Anna got were vintage in that sense because they had paper, I don't know what to call them, like ties,
bands.
Bands, yeah. They had paper bands, so you could tell that they were older. And then DH received one of the skeins, and one of them was Blanc Neige, which... my ad block just updated. Thank you, ad block.
Perfect timing.
Yep. And what was I gonna say? Yes. They had a Blanc Neige skein, which now is B5200. And that is supposed to be the whitest white that DMC has. And DH was like, this is such a big difference between B5200 and Blanc. I thought that, it would be a much less big difference. And I was like, I think this is also B5200. Yes. It just has yellowed so much because it's old. Because I swear, in the picture... they were just completely different shades. Not even
very
similar.
Much like an antique white.
Yeah. It almost looked like a crew.
Yeah. I did end up using that particular skein. I put it on a bobbin separate from the other whites So,
Yeah.
and I used it for the spines of the pufferfish. Because I thought it would like stand out a little bit more. So I think I'm just going to use that like on its own as its own entity, like as its own color.
Yeah, that's basically what I plan to do with mine as well.
Also, Moon, Toot says that we're breaking their brain because they thought that Bella was Yuna. Because Bella's on my desk, rattling around on screen, and yeah.
That tracks. I don't know where Yuna went, actually. Probably on my bed, as usual.
She had her treats. It's time for sleep now. I'm actually finishing off this thread, and I'm going to pick up a different color. What color? I don't know.
What color? I don't know. I just finished 9/18. So I'm going to put that away. And then I will be able to start a new color.
So I use Pixapat for doing this conversion. And the reason that I chose that one is not only did it give me the best result, it also loaded automatically into Pattern Keeper, which I really appreciated because I tried a few different ones, and most of them did not load into Pattern Keeper, which I could not do a project this size without Pattern Keeper.
Deal breaker.
Yeah. But so there are like 50 different colors in this. I think it's actually like down to 30 to 47 or something. Anyways, there's a lot of colors. So I'm using this feature in Pattern Keeper where you can search. So you hit any box and it'll highlight, it'll highlight all the stitches of that color and also tell you what color it is in the layer. So
that's really cool. I never used that feature.
Yeah, so I never really used it before, but because I don't know what the colors are and I just kind of want to work in this area. So I'm like, I'm going to work on the next closest color. So I'll just tap it and it'll bring it up. And if I have that one in stash, I'll work on that color and just kind of fill it in. Because I'm not being super disciplined with this one. There are so many different ways that you can do full coverage. Yeah. There's a ton of different techniques for it, and some people will kind of start in the corner and fill in an entire 10 by 10 block at a time and do that over and over and over again, parking their threads as they go. Some people will do one color over the entire piece. What I've decided to do is kind of a mix of those methods. So
they call it the chaos DH technique.
Yeah, it is definitely a chaos technique. Definitely a chaos technique. So what I did was I started up in the corner and then I was like, this is boring. It's all brown. I want to work on the flowers. So I moved over to the flowers. I counted like 107 times to make sure I was moving to the right spot. And then I set up my frame. So I'm basically just my frame is where it is, and I'm gonna kind of like fill in what I can in this area, and then probably move it. So I'm not doing like, a page finish at a time or doing the full thing on the diagonals. Like that's one thing that you'll see a lot for people who do full coverage is they'll completely fill in the chart page by page, and it looks really cool, but that is not how
not how DH operates.
No. My
which is interesting as well, because I was watching in preparation for Unseelie, which is my full coverage that I would like to start eventually. Soon, hopefully. like I was doing research on full coverage techniques, and people said that like working page by page can also create a lot of tension lines in your project.
Yeah, which I'd never heard of before, but I thought that was an interesting idea.
Yeah, and some people say the same thing as well as working square by square. So like a lot of people, like if you cross stitch really tight, or like if you like are an emotional stitcher,
yeah,
like if you tend to stitch more tightly when stressed and stuff like that, then it can definitely like have like, you know, squares that are super tight and then other ones that are like looser, so it makes demarcations in the fabric that are like kind of difficult to iron out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, which makes sense. Also, Toot is currently aghast at what I just did to this piece of floss. I'm also aghast at what I did to this piece of floss. So
I missed it. Am I glad I missed it?
Yeah, I was I was trying and then it wasn't working, and then we're just not going to talk about it, I don't think.
That's fine. Rip the piece of floss.
Oh my god, it was so bad. Hi, Orchid, welcome in. No frogging, only terror floss. Orchid, we are working on my full coverage piece of Tangled Garden, which is my favorite painting. It's by J.E.H. MacDonald of the Group of Seven. And I ran it through a conversion program to create this lovely large pattern.
Oh, I don't know if Orchid showed you, but yesterday and today they were asking ChatGPT if they could create cross-stitch patterns.
Oh no.
It was oh goodness. Horrors.
Apparently some of the ChatGPT crochet patterns are just super cursed.
Yeah, I guess the same thing is true with cross stitch. It was very funny though. Orchid like asked ChatGPT to make a cat, and it just gave them like a circle with different colors in the middle, and then they asked a cat with ears, and ChatGPT just transformed it into like this oblong shape, and it looked like a football.
Oh.
ChatGPT was like, a cat? No, football.
Orchid says they just stitched a frog. And
oh yeah, because they also asked ChatGPT for a frog.
Yay. Yes, Orchid is doing a not so super secret test stitch for me, and said they were going to add a little frog to it. So that's very cool. But yes, because I was planning on streaming on Monday, but then I didn't end up doing it. But that was going to be a Design With Me stream for a needle book. So Orchid has very kindly tested the needle book, not only the stitching chart, but also the tutorial. So that's very cool. I'm very excited about that.
And is the needle book going to be available in your Etsy store after they test it? Ooh.
Yeah. It's a version of my needle book, because mine has the Cusco.
Oh, DH's DH's needles.
Yeah, so this one just says it's the needles for cross stitch, the cross stitch needles.
Perfect. Still carries the essence.
Yep. Thank you, Toot, for putting up those links. So those links are to the coffee shop and the Etsy store. I have cross-stitch patterns available on both. I have knitting patterns available on both. I have crochet patterns available on both. The coffee link also has a few freebies for both knit and cross-stitch.
I don't have all of those beautiful links, but I do have DH's YouTube and Etsy, if you guys want to check that out in chat. And you can also go on their Twitch channel to get all the other ones.
Thank you so much, Moon.
Of course.
Moon is the best hype person.
Absolutely. I am nothing but hype. I love the ones. I accidentally minimized my pattern keeper. I need it. Thank you very much. But I'm working on the bright pink now.
Nice.
It's so nice having it get pop color.
No, my favorite thing is that Toot hypes up me and hypes up you, and you hype up me, and we all hype up each other, and Toot is just like the leader of the hype parade all the time.
Hello, Maget. Unfortunately, we only speak English here. Thank you, Mac.
Orchid says, I just got to the part with the closure and you were panicking because you didn't know what to use. Meanwhile, you were literally surrounded by different kinds of strings. Yeah, I used jewelry cording, but you could use ribbon, yarn, string, braided, floss, anything like that.
Maget is asking, what is this? It is cross stitch. So essentially, we take fabric, we take thread, and with a needle, we make little X's on a gridded fabric to basically make pixel art out of floss and fabric.
Yes, exactly.
That's like my favorite way to explain it to people. Basically pixel art with floss and fabric.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, so another thing about this project that I really enjoy. If you guys can see my screen, you can see that there's these very faint gray lines. So those lines are marking every 10 stitches. So it's creating like a 10 stitch block. And those lines actually match up with these thicker lines in my pattern. So it's, so when I have the pre-gridded fabric with the gridded pattern, it makes it a lot easier to know where to place your next stitch. Because you're relying a lot less on counting, like not less on counting because this is counted cross stitch, but you're only counting like 5 stitches or less in any given direction.
Yeah, which is amazing because you guys know how moon math goes.
And right now you can kind of see, like if you see the green highlighted stitches, those are the ones I'm doing, and they are quite scattered right now. So having those guidelines makes it a lot easier to kind of slot them into the right place. And that's what it really feels like from my brain. I was talking about it with Moon and how it's a different feeling because it's like, it's a little bit less like diving wildly into the unknown and hoping you have the right spot, and it's more like just popping stuff into place. It's like just popping the little pegs into the right spots in this little 10
Which
by 10
sounds
block.
amazing because like sometimes I will count something over and over just to make sure that I'm in the right spot. So having something that does the counting, the hardest part for me would be, pretty great. It will be pretty great because that's also the kind of fabric I'll get for my full coverage piece.
Yes. Yeah, no, I don't think I would try and do full coverage without gridding. And I mean,
right?
This fabric that I'm using came like this, with the grid lines in, and these will wash out at the end of the project. But you can grid your own fabric using a variety of different methods if you don't have pre-gridded stuff.
Orchid is asking me if I got the fabric for my full coverage. Do you want to expose me, DH?
No. They have not gotten the fabric for their full coverage.
Yep.
They have yet to order it.
So basically, I was really hoping to get it from the local needlework store, but I called for like a month, and for 2 of those weeks, her provider was the shop owner's provider was on vacation, and then the 4th week, like I gave just a week in between, and the 4th week when I called, the lady was like, "Oh, I got the order, but I'm at a salon at the moment, so I can't tell you if I have what you need. So call me back Wednesday." And now at this point, I'm just like, I was hoping to get it from the LNS because then I could get the perfect measurements of what I need without paying for the extra fabric. But now it's kind of more of a hassle to call again for what is the 3rd or 4th time, I can't remember, and go get it. So I think I'm gonna just order online. I'm gonna be someone who doesn't like to be making phone calls and just order online.
Yeah, I mean, completely valid. And also stitchwit.ca, not sponsored, but we love them.
Yes, absolutely. I do have some floss to order from Stitchwit, so getting fabric there is just, you know.
We just did a floss order. Like, it came in yesterday, and I'm already like, ooh, I could order some more stuff.
Absolutely. DH and Toot basically always have a Stitchwit order on the go.
Pretty much.
If it's not in transit, it's always in the cart.
See, I'm paranoid about losing the cart, so I keep I keep a shopping list in my Notion, broken up by like which project it's for, so when it comes in I can put it in the right place instead of going, what did I order this for?
I can understand that. Ooh, Cytherians asks, would you be willing to explain how to wash a project? I'm too scared to do it. Absolutely, because have you washed a project yet, DH?
Girl.
I think DH is more the type to iron something if it's really bad, or just shove it in a frame and call it done.
Wow. My pieces look beautiful when they're framed.
They do.
But no,
shove it in a frame is not exactly what I do. So frame them as they are without washing is what I mean.
Yes, no, I have never washed a piece.
Yeah. But yes, I washed a few pieces now, and I really do like the way that the piece feels washed and ironed after. That's mostly why I do it, because sometimes you know that the wrinkles are not gonna show when you frame it, or you could just iron it, but I don't know, I like the process. It makes me feel like completing the cycle of the piece. But the way that
Sorry, continue.
Absolutely. But the way that I do it is I will take some lukewarm water. Like, what I am paranoid about is using a container or the sink that will not be clean, and then that's gonna dirty my cross stitch piece. So what I do is I have like this big Tupperware, like this really big, you know, the biggest Tupperwares, like that are made to like carry a dozen of cupcakes, that size of Tupperware. So I use that. I know it's clean. Like I sometimes, if I haven't used it in a while, I'll rinse it so that there's no dust inside. And I fill it with lukewarm water, not hot, because although DMC is color fast, some other brands are not necessarily over color fast. Color fast meaning the dye won't run if you put it in hot water. So DMC is supposed to be color fast, but if you're using dyed fabric, over dyed floss, other brands of flosses, or you know, sometimes I have heard some horror stories about DMC reds specifically that do end up running. So you're always better off with lukewarm water, just so that, you know, your stuff doesn't run. And also it does get the grease out easier than cold water. And then I use non-dyed, what's the word? Not laundry soap, dish soap. The soap for the other thing. So like the ones that don't have any coloring inside, and I just put a few drops in that so that and then I mix everything and just shove the piece inside. And then I let that soak for a bit. And while that soaks, usually I'll clean my sink to make sure that like the sink doesn't have any grime on it or food or anything that could stain the piece after I've washed it. And I will just rinse the piece under the running water until there's no suds in it. Then I leave it to dry mostly on a white towel so that, you know, there's no fluff or dye that could transfer onto the cross stitch piece. And once it's mostly dry, then I will iron it. Because like if it's completely damp, it will get the wrinkles out.
Thank you so much for the raid, Midnight. Really appreciate that.
So I usually iron it after it's dried a bit. So yeah, like to summarize, put lukewarm water and dish soap in a clean container. Leave the piece to soak for however long you feel is appropriate. If there are extra like grimy areas or like a spot that was dirty, you can scrub it gently with a toothbrush or a small like something to agitate the fibers. Then you rinse it, leave it to dry, iron it, and that's it, I think. If you have any questions, I know that some people use different soaps. Like I know that there are some people that use specific like wool soaps, or like that are for like gentle fabrics and stuff like that. But I've only had experiences washing with non-colored dish soap.
Thank you. That was very thorough. That makes me feel a little bit more confident in washing my peaches. My peaches. Watch it. Shutting down. Washing my pieces in the future.
Yeah. Cetherin says, is there anything special for black or darker fabrics? So I've heard that dark or black fabrics can run easier. Because like if you're working on white Aida, there's obviously not going to be any dye running. But I have heard that black or dark Aida can run, just because there's so much dye in the fabric. So the only thing I would say is to be careful not to use warm water, to probably use lukewarm or on the colder side, just to prevent that. And if you're really worried about it running, because if for example, if you use lighter color floss on a dark fabric, then that could really ruin the piece if it does run. If you're really worried, you can always do a test wash. So essentially take a piece of the leftover Aida that you had, or a corner or something, and then wash it in the same condition and see if that piece ran. And then I'm not so sure how one would go about washing a piece that would risk running or that would run.
There's a project
I
called
think...
Color Catchers. Have you heard of those?
No, I haven't actually.
So they're in the laundry section of the grocery store or the supermarket, wherever you get your laundry soap. They look like dryer sheets, but basically you toss that in the water with your piece, and their only function is to slurp up any excess dye. So if you are worried about something running, you can just toss one of those sheets in while you're washing it, and it's a color catcher. It catches colors. So that's usually pretty good if you're worried about something that's going to run.
I had no idea that even existed. Well,
yeah, I've
that
never
would be a
actually
good
used
solution
them before, but and I feel like I've heard that they're like a little bit pricey because you have to buy a box of like 100 of them at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, just check out the laundry section. Like I think Tide makes them, probably Great Value makes them, that kind of thing.
That's really good to know. So yeah, then I'm assuming that if you're working with a darker fabric, you could do a test wash before washing the whole thing. If it doesn't run, you know you're good to go. And if it does run, you could use a color catcher. But I was very lucky so far. None of my pieces ran. I've used black Ida. I've used dyed Ida. I've used white. I used a variety of floss colors, including some DMC red, and nothing ever ran. So
that's good. Yeah.
Thank you for the tips. Y'all are so nice. I'm glad I've stumbled upon the stream. You're more than welcome. I'm glad that you found us as well.
Yeah,
are you working on anything right now, Sutharine? Yes. They're working on a moon moth. How timely.
Amazing.
That's amazing. We are big fans of moths over here.
Yep.
Toot, who is DH's spouse, has made at least 4 moths, I think.
At least 4.
At least 4. I think it's more than 4, but it's at least 4. They say moths are having a moment right now. They really are. They are getting the recognition they deserve after years of going unknown and unnoticed. But Toot is a hipster. They always loved moths.
They liked moths
even before they were cool. Exactly.
We actually just got another pattern from
Moth
Mama Witch
pattern.
Cross Stitch, which is a moth.
Let's see. Perfect. Because I think that you said that the project would be to have a moth wall.
Yeah.
Like basically a wall where you hang all the moth cross stitch pieces.
Yes. Yeah. We've got a wall picked out. And we're just gonna like load it up with moth stitch.
Perfect.
It's
I love
gonna
that.
look so good. Because Toot's pieces are like a variety of sizes, and some are circular, some are oval, so I think it'll look really cool.
I'm really excited to see how that will look and how that will go.
Yeah, just
because so far, give it a few
years.
A few months to a few years. It's okay, I'll still be here.
We have a large box of stuff to hang up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a binder of finished pieces that are not fully finished. Because if you guys have tuned into a few cross-stitch streams already, you'll know what a fully finished object is. But if you haven't, in cross-stitch we call it finished when we're done stitching the piece. But fully finished is when we are framing it or making a final object out of it. So it can be like, you know, a yes framing, but some people also make pillows. Some people also make ornaments. I'm blanking out.
Little pins.
Yes, that's
This
a
one's
good
a
one.
pin.
Yes, and it's actually available in DH's Ko-fi store for free for Pride Month.
Yes. It's
So if you guys would like to stitch a pronoun butterfly, you know where to find them.
Yeah, it's a Luna moth. I've got she, her, he, him, they, them, she, they, he, they, and ask me all charted out on their wings. And it's been so much fun because several people in the community are making them, and I'm just loving seeing everyone's different palettes, and it's been really fun.
Yeah, once I get to a more manageable stitch load / workload / life load, I really would like to make a blue she, her moth to have as a pin.
So pretty.
Yeah. Because if you guys have ever laid eyes upon my stream, you can guess what my favorite color is. Or laid eyes upon my anything, to be fair.
I'll be real honest, one of the reasons that I wanted to work on this piece tonight, I asked Moon kind of like what I should work on because I wasn't sure. But I was leaning towards this because I'm not stitching exclusively with green, because everything else that I'm working on, I'm using green right now.
Oh no. But you love green.
I love green. I just can't handle it. Turnitrix isn't even here to mock me. No, it's so funny because I was doing a stream where I was changing projects every time we spun the wheel. And I kept changing projects every like 20 minutes, and it was always some kind of shade of green.
Of course.
This is just so satisfying. Doing it this way, like doing it one stitch at a time and like filling out a 10 by 10 square as I go. It's just very like, this goes here and this goes here and this goes here, and now they're all neat.
I'm so excited to try it.
Yes,
I still don't know. Yeah, I still don't know what method I'd like to do. Because I was looking at a bunch of methods, which, you know, that's part of my neurospiciness. I must do research at all times about anything I want to commence to start. So I was looking at a bunch of full coverage techniques that exist, and one of them that I found was the diagonal one.
Mm-hmm.
And the person was talking actually about how that has really helped them not get square lines or page lines. So I thought, oh, hey, that's pretty neat. And so I was considering that one, but I don't know. Maybe I would do diagonal, but with cross country. So basically, like, you stitch everything within the diagonal, and then if you have leftover thread, you finish it in the next diagonal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm assuming that's gonna be heavily dependent on the piece, because sometimes you have like 2 stitches of a color, or just, you know, it's gonna depend how unseelie will be, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll depend a lot on kind of the layout of, because this piece I'm doing is computer generated and I didn't fix the stitches themselves, but the piece that you're doing has been edited for cross stitch. So yeah. I'm expecting that there will be kind of like larger color blocks. Still probably a lot of confetti, but
yeah.
Not whatever's going on here.
Yeah. It has 70 colors, I think. So
yeah. And I love that palette
It's-
for it too. It looks so like
yes.
earthy and moody and just gorgeous.
Wait, let me show you guys what piece I'm talking about. Pull it up. My nifty Notion template made by DH, because DH is amazing.
Thank you.
So in my queue here, we have Unseelie the Forest Witch. And this is her in all of her beauty. We love plus size witch baddie. So, you know. When I saw her, I was like, I must stitch her. So the colors, let me actually pull them out. I'm gonna show you guys.
While you do that, I'm gonna finish off this this thread because I've run out of stitches in this color in this area.
Damn. But yeah, so this is the palette. It looks like nothing at all, and yet when you look at the art itself, it has very like bright orange on her sash, on the leaves, and like there's lots of creams, which there are in this, but like it just looks like browns, like various shades of browns. So I know it's gonna be like the lighter colors over here that are gonna really tie everything together. But it's really funny to me to look at the color, at the floss, at the palette, and then look at the art and be like, huh, this is gonna come together to make that.
I mean, that's kind of how we felt about
Exactly.
Deadly Aquarium. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. Like the Deadly Aquarium palette, we were like, okay, there's like one red, one pink, a blue, but there's nothing else. Like there's just greens and
Browns.
like more blues and browns. Like how is this gonna be bright? And yeah, see, the coral is so bright. The eel looks so bright as well.
Yeah, for people watching my stream, she just pulled up the palette for Unseelie. Because I've got like a delay. So. But now you can see what she was talking about with all the different colors and yeah. Alright, let's go back to mine. It's all about me.
Yes.
Alright, so that's the 680. So you can kind of see on my back here. It's looking a little bit like Constellation there.
It does. It looks so cool.
Yeah. But that's just because like I'm trying to get as many stitches before I finish off the thread, but anyways, I'm going on vibes. We're stitching on vibes.
Absolutely. It's perfect.
All right, so which color are we going to do next is the question. I'm gonna work with 918.
Perfect. Like me half an hour ago.
That's what I was thinking. And guys, we have been doing this about over an hour now, so remember to stretch, remember to grab something to hydrate, stand up, uncrack your neck, unshrimp your back, just get a little bit of a nice stretch in. If you need a snack, go grab a snack.
If you grab a snack, let us know what snack you're getting.
Yes, we will snack vicariously through you.
Absolutely.
So I tried the Project Monogamy thing for June.
Oh, how did that go?
I got 9 days in. And then I was
Hey,
like,
that's 9 more than I would have expected.
Wow. But also, same. Yeah, I was not expecting myself to do very well on that particular challenge. So 9 days is 9 days. I got some work in on, and like one of the main reasons that I wanted to challenge myself like that is I wanted to get some progress in on those who wait, which I did. And I played around with a few different techniques and that kind of thing. And then I realized that if I kept forcing myself to only work on that, I was going to end up hating it and never want to work on it again. So, which is not a vibe I want, because I love that project.
Yes,
so
and it's also not helpful and counterproductive to getting progress on it.
Exactly. So I was talking to Moon and Toot and saying like, sorry. I was also saying, but no, I just did a mistake. And I was saying that like I was jonesing for a new project and I was white knuckling the monogamy and I was just like, I really wanted to start something new, and like I had all these plans and I really wanted to start something new. And then as soon as I kind of like gave myself permission to start something new, the urge went away for like 12 hours. And then I started something
I was
new
going to say.
morning.
And then the very next day,
yeah.
I had a message from DH being like, so you know how I said it went away with the picture of a freshly started project.
Bitch, you thought.
Fury said that's exactly my dilemma with school assignments. Focusing on one thing is not helpful at times.
Yeah, and I really just need the variation. And like the variation in stitching styles. Like this, it's a lot of confetti and it's a lot of changing floss frequently. And it's like a lot of motion. Whereas those who wait, it's a lot of big chunks of the same color. So both of those are styles that I enjoy, just not necessarily, they might not be styles that I enjoy at any given moment. So having that variety and being able to switch between the two of them is great.
Satharin said, is DH a fellow sufferer of ADHD?
I am the ADHDH.
And it's so funny you say that, Satharin, because I also have ADHD, but I somehow don't have that urge to start something new a lot of the time. I think a lot of my... instead of like a multitude of cross-stitch project, for me it's a multitude of various hobbies that I wanted to. Like, I'm always, whenever I have free time, it's always like, do I play Valorant or do I cross-stitch? And then I sometimes end up doing none because I can't pick, and it's terrible.
Yep. I restarted my Wheel of Whips specifically so I wouldn't be stuck in that executive dysfunction about choosing a task. Because like, so there's this one, which is a lot of confetti, but it's full coverage. And then there's this one, which is Kyrie and Sora, which I've really been enjoying working on because it's also pretty much full coverage, but it's larger blocks of color. But I've been taking some of the techniques I've been experimenting with in Tangled Garden and using them in Kyrie and Sora to make the experience a little bit more enjoyable. Because this project, I keep coming back to it. And every time I come back to it, I'm like, oh my God, I love this. But then I put it away because like I kind of get frustrated because I was doing that thing where I was trying to like conserve floss and be the most efficient I could be and all that kind of thing. So you can see I took a heat friction marker, which is like it disappears with heat, and I marked off just the corners of the grid to make it a little bit easier to do this inner part, because all of this is going to be stitched over. So even if the heat gun doesn't disappear completely or does leave a remnant, it'll be stitched over. Like this entire section is going to be covered up. So I just did that quick thing, which really helped me with getting stuff done. So I've been really enjoying working on this again. And again, I just picked like a small section. I'm going to completely finish this section that's in the hoop and then move on.
That's a lot of progress you've made on that piece since I last saw it, though.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And then this is the new start that I did the other day. This is the Witchy Stitcher's Nostalgic Tarot. And this is the card, The Lovers. So I
That's so cute.
I know.
It's the one with the aliens, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Aww.
It's so cute. So that one's really fun. And then here is the one those who wait. So again, you can see like I kind of started doing almost.
I love
a
those
grid.
crisp edges.
I know, right? I know. That's another reason that I love this project. So I started I did like a little tiny grid. So I'm gonna just fill these in instead of doing these huge lines of Danish. I'm just gonna do like a box at a time, which I think will help, and then just like filling in the little sections. So this has been going really well. So this is on 18 count, which is very tiny. The two that I just showed were on 14 count, and the one that I'm working on now is on 16 count. For those of you keeping track at home. I will say I mostly work on 14 count, and I've been experimenting with other fabrics. And then I went and started The Lovers, and it was like there's something about working on 14 count Black Ada that just it feels like coming home. Like it was just I don't know what it was, but it was just like, yes, this is good. This is my happy place. And I just started this Tangled Garden piece, by the way. So this is about 2 days of progress, which is why it
so
looks
much.
Like
it looks
absolute nothing.
What do you mean it looks like nothing? To me, that looks like a lot for 2 days of work.
Well, I mean, it looks like a lot of stitches, but it doesn't look like if I hadn't shown you the painting and been like, this is the flower, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's a flower.
Yeah. No, indeed. Like in that aspect, you're very right.
That's the thing about full coverage, is it doesn't look like anything for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Welcome in, Thunderpup. Yes, we're doing some cross stitch tonight. We're hanging out with our friend MoonPhased. I'm doing some full coverage cross stitch. And Moon is working on the Deadly Aquarium Sal. Welcome in, grab something to drink. Not like drink, but like hydrate drink. And yeah, let us know if you're working on anything. You do embroidery but have never done cross stitch. Oh wow. I have like a love-hate relationship with embroidery. Embroidery. I really like the way that embroidery looks, and I think it's a very cool set of techniques. I'm just very bad at it. Because
for me, sorry, go ahead.
Because it's a lot of like, you have to really control where your needle goes. There isn't a grid or a guide to follow, and I'm just not good at that.
Yeah, for me, it's like there's too much latitude. And there's too much room for free will. Which I guess is kind of like what you're saying as well.
When I was a kid, it's still unfinished. I think it's still at my parents' house. I got this, it was like a learn to embroider project. So it deliberately used a bunch of different embroidery stitches. And it was a printed piece of fabric, but it was like, it was basically like a coloring page that you then filled in with the different embroidery stitches. And it was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I finished about half of it, and I never finished it. And I think I worked on that solidly from the age of like 5 through 18.
Oh my god. You really tried to go at it, to keep at it.
I know, but I was just, I mean, by the end of it, my satin stitch looked pretty decent.
I can imagine.
But at the same time, I was also like
13 years of satin stitch.
I was also just coloring in the lines.
Yeah.
Thunderpup says they were taught to mend with embroidery. Oh, that's cool.
That was really cool.
We're doing one of our community members, 3 is doing a choose your own floss adventure thing this month. Kind of exploring different things to do with floss. And mending, like visible mending is one of them. And that I'm actually going to give it a shot on the chair that I'm sitting in, because it needs a little bit of love.
It's gotten a lot of love from cats, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the problem. I have been working on my other choose your own floss adventure, which is, for me, sewing. Which I like the finished effect, and I'm going to continue with the project. I don't think it's going to be a hobby that I pick up on the reg.
Yeah, because as we know, you hate sewing.
I know, and it's so weird because it's like, what is cross stitch if not just sewing a bunch of little tiny X's?
It's putting floss on a canvas instead of cutting things permanently and attaching them together in a way that can be user worn, which is terrifying even to me.
Sorry guys, we have a visitor here. Girly has decided it is cuddle time and not stream time.
Oh, your baby.
She just shoved my hoop out of the way, stood on my chest, and slammed her face into my face.
She loves.
Yeah.
Big love time.
Yeah. Pearls? Yeah. You gonna do little screams? Little screams for the mic? Keep walking.
We didn't hear the screams. I'm sad.
Right. She has continued her travel onto the back of my chair. Yes, Thunderpup, welcome to where cats interrupt my crafting constantly. It becomes just cat stream.
It's funny because Yuna doesn't really do that.
Yuna knows that she'll get treats at the beginning of stream and then she's just done with you. It's so funny. Except last night, oh my god, she was so cute.
Yeah, last night she was just being a ham on camera. Because usually, like, we don't have this camera angle. We have, like, the webcam that's, like, over here. I'm pointing. Yeah, like, so it's usually just like a hand cam, and Yuna doesn't really go on my desk that often. But yesterday she was just laid on my desk and like on half on her back, paws curled up, looking up at the camera. It was adorable.
Oh, she was so cute.
It was killing all of us.
Really has decided my decision not to cuddle her was a stupid one, and she is protesting.
Back? Oh.
Yeah. That's okay. We love our early.
How is she protesting?
She is currently curled up on top of my other projects, glaring at me.
Of course. She says no pets, then no projects.
Yep. I'm sorry, Earls. 20 minutes and then you'll get your wet food. I promise. How many stitches do you have left on that exhibit?
Oh, a lot. Like about halfway?
Okay.
Oh no, actually, 5 more than that. I didn't realize. I have 300 stitches left.
Well,
398. Yeah.
That's not much at all. You'll be able to get that done by the time the next clue drops, I think.
Yeah, because tomorrow I will probably be stitching.
Yeah.
So yeah. I've done about 100 stitches tonight. I'll probably get a bit more done after stream as well.
Yeah.
Unless Valorant calls for me.
Dude's been playing a game called Fabledom, which they can stitch while playing. The best of both worlds.
That sounds lovely.
And now I have Miley Cyrus stuck in my head. And I did it to myself.
Which song?
The best of both worlds.
I got the best of both worlds. Because I think it was yesterday I discovered that DH has a deep love for Miley Cyrus.
Oh yes, a deep, deep love for Miley Cyrus.
And I had no idea. And now I know. Things we learn.
Yep.
It was in the most like random way as well.
Yeah, you said you put your hands up and
put your hands up, the plane my side, butterflies fly away.
Moving your head like yeah.
And shaking your head like yeah. When you say, this is where like my past shows, because when you say put your hands up, I think of a K-pop song called Put Your Hands Up. And I haven't listened to that song in many years now.
But it's in there. It's stuck in the brain.
It's still there. It's stuck in the brain radio. It's like the other day I woke up with, what was it? I forget. I woke up with a song stuck in my head. And I was like, I haven't listened to this song in like a decade. What was it? I forget.
I had that moment the other day as well. Toot and I were watching something about gorillas. And I was like, oh, what was that other animated band? they were Canadian, and they were really like, they were a really big part of my like late 90s experience. And I could not remember the name of the band, and then I found it because I got one of the lyrics from their song stuck in my head. And I was listening to them for like 3 hours this morning. Prozac.
Oh, that doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, they never, I don't know how big they ever got, but they had like they were like an animated duo.
I see.
And I'm trying to think. But yeah, like their songs on Spotify have like 20,000 plays each or something. Like they're not.
Oh, okay. They're
super
not
popular.
big.
But they put out a new album in 2017, which I didn't realize. So I listened to that, and it was good. Didn't have anything that like immediately got stuck in my head like some other stuff.
Do you ever like find a new song and you're like, oh, I really like the sound of that, and then you go to listen to the artist, hoping to find the same type of music, and then you're just vastly disappointed?
Yep.
Because it sounds nothing like the rest of their music.
That was me and Sugar Ray.
Yeah. I had that experience like today. Like,
oh, yeah.
Our friend Yasha showed me a song a while ago called Ashes by an artist named Witches. And I was like, this is like a music that I love. I want to listen to more of this artist. Their aesthetic is on point as well, because like they have a bunch of like cover with like some fancy tarot card looking stuff, and I was like, I want to love this dude. But then all of the rest of his music ended up being super.
Thank you so much for the follow, Thunderpup. Really appreciate it.
As the kids would say. Not mediocre, but not good. Just average.
It's mid.
It was mid. It was very mid. Was disappointed.
Yeah, there was one. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was. Well, one band that I didn't listen to because the name of the band doesn't really. They're called Miracle of Sound, which sounds like a really like generic kind of maybe Christian pop. Yeah. Anyways, and they do like really cool Viking metal, and it's just like, oh, this is not the vibe I expected from a band called Miracle of Sound.
It is, yeah, no, that's not what I expected either.
Yeah.
Which is funny that you say that, because I was listening to the League of Legends music today, because Riot makes amazing music for League of Legends. Like, yeah. For Valorant, it's very much like electronic music, but for League, they have a big variety. And I was just listening to like this is League of Legends playlist on Spotify, and one of my favorite characters song, because they sometimes make songs for the characters when they release like a theme song. It's like literally like a fucking Viking song, because like he's the god of the storm, and he's a bear. He's a polar bear.
Oh, that's so
cool. His name is the Volley Bear.
Aww.
I'll show it to you. I think you'll like it because it's very much like Viking. It's not metal, but it's Viking.
Yeah. That's cool. I appreciate that. And there was one of my favorite songs right now is Oak and Ash and Thorn by the Longest Johns, which again, like, I really love that song. It's like super like ethereal and witchy, and then the rest of their music is kind of like all pirate sea shanty Renaissance fair stuff, and it's like, okay, I get that it's kind of the same vibe, but
also not kind of the same vibe.
Oh, Thunderpup, you've heard that one? It's so good.
I think you showed it to me. I'll get it going.
It's like by Oak and Ash and Thorn, my son. But Oak and Ash and Thorn. Thunderpup recently discovered it on YouTube. Ooh. I didn't know that I'm so bad at using YouTube for music, although Titty, one of our mutual friends, has found some really great mashups that they've sent me.
Yes.
Our friends have good taste in music.
do.
Yasha's Lethal Company playlist I was listening to this morning as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, Yasha just has really good obscure taste in music. It's great.
Oh man, I took a nap this afternoon and I had a really bad headache and I wanted to be able to stream. So I woke up and Toot was out here listening to music and she has the most banging playlist. Like we just sat and listened to music for most of the afternoon. It was great.
It also has a very unexpected taste in music. And I don't mean like unexpected in like weird stuff, but like a very eclectic stuff.
I mean, I kind of get the underlying vibe. A lot of it needs a really good beat.
Yeah, I guess. I get that. I personally I can't listen to ballads.
Mm-hmm.
I get so bored with them. So I get that.
Yeah.
Like, I can listen to slower songs, but I can't listen to, like, ballads.
If it's, like, a male vocalist and they've got that really low, like, rumbly voice, then I can do ballads. But otherwise, you're right. It's just kind of like, all right, this is okay. But could you move it along a little bit?
Could you, like, take it up 20 beats? Or 40? Or 60, even?
Like, we don't have to be like Captain Jack DDR, but, you know.
Heyo, Captain Jack.
Heyo.
I want to play DDR now. I was so good at it when it was on the Wii.
Uh-huh.
I was so good. I would do like fucking challenger level.
Oh,
stuff.
Amazing. I was never that good at it. The only way I could play it was I had to go to the actual arcade, so like anxiety.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the music and I liked kind of watching it online.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why this piece of floss is so short. I don't know what I last did with it. It's so short.
Yeah, I have that moment a lot when I'm like, what was I thinking? Why did I do this to myself?
What did past DH think that was a good idea?
I know.
Why did
and then Toot has that moment as well because we share floss and then is like, what did you do to this floss? Toot has said that we're going to have a floss separating lesson after stream.
That's perfect. I had a friend over like a few weeks ago for like cross stitch and we were just like, and I watched her try to get 3 pieces of floss out of the 6th strand at the same time and just keep pulling as the knot started forming, and I was just staring at her in shock, horror, and disbelief. Like, what are you doing? And she was like, I need 3, and I'm taking 3 out. And I was like, you can't take them out one at a time. What are you doing, you absolute savage? And then I showed her.
To be fair, taking them out one at a time did not occur to me for the longest time.
I know. I know. And it breaks me. It was very, I don't know, maybe it was very obvious for me because I watched so many YouTube videos where I saw people do it. But it just made sense that it would tangle so much if you pull more than one out. It already tangles when you pull one.
Nope. Although, to be fair, the floss massacre that I committed earlier this evening, I thought I only had 1 strand of floss coming out.
You had more than 1.
And I had 2, which is why it tangled so badly.
Yeah, that was a mistake. It's okay, It happens. But when you do it on purpose...
That is
Why
unforgivable.
why do you like to make your life more difficult for yourself? You know? And then I showed her how to do it, and she was staring at me in disbelief because of how easy I made it look.
Well, yeah, if something doesn't occur to you and you don't think of something,
Yeah, no.
it can be like,
For sure.
oh, yeah, duh.
This said, if you have a method that works for you, don't let anyone tell you that it's wrong. It works, it works.
The only rule is make tiny X's. And even that
Yep.
rule is sometimes make tiny lines.
Yep.
So you guys can see, like, these stitches were not connected to other stitches, so I was relying very heavily on the grid to be able to place them correctly. But, yeah. But I also feel more confident that they're in the right place because of the grid. It's so much easier to navigate.
Yeah. I could not imagine doing because like the thing right with self-gridding is that you can miscount.
Exactly, yeah.
So like what if you miscount your grid and then that messes up all of your counting after?
I know.
So,
I would
like,
be
it's just
I
a
would be
big
so
fear of
anxious
mine.
all of the time anyways. But the pre-gridded stuff, this is lovely.
And it's so time consuming as well to grid a project yourself.
Yeah. I think doing just like the corners of the squares is a lot easier. And a lot harder to mess up. Because if you're like using a straight edge or a ruler to draw the lines, then the ruler can drift.
Yeah. You're right. The corners would be easier. But then it's
But
also
you
a
still have
counting
to,
thing.
yeah, you still have
Yeah.
to count. And, you know, moon math and all that.
Yeah. Moon math. Math is hard. Well, math is not hard. Remembering the numbers as I am speaking is hard.
Yeah.
It was such a realization that I had when I realized why moon math was a thing.
Just trying to remember the numbers in the problem as you're solving the problem.
Yup. Because for those that don't know, when I did my neuropsychology assessment, I scored so very low on my working memory. My working memory is terrible as per the test.
Oh no.
And one of the things that the neuropsychologist said is, oh yeah, when we were doing the arithmetic test, so you know, like little problems like Carl has 25 watermelons, he gives 2 to Celine and 15 to his mom. How many watermelons does he have left? One of the things he would do is after I was done with my sentence, he would often ask me, what was the number initially? So you would have scored higher on arithmetics. It's just your working memory is so low.
Oh no.
I was like,
that also
that
does
tracks.
make a lot of sense.
Yep. It makes so much sense. Everything makes sense.
That's whenever you get a diagnosis. It's like, oh, my
Yep.
brain isn't broken. Oh, it just works different. Thunderpup says, I feel like I wouldn't do well with that either. Yeah, the only reason that I can survive those ones is because my dad is an accountant, and making up
Trained your
algebra world
brain.
problems is how he passed the time on road trips.
That's terrible.
So, yeah.
I feel for you. Feel for past DH. Stuck in a car with math.
I know,
Nuh-uh.
right? Dad, I just want to know when we're going to get to McDonald's. Well, Moon, I'm going to get wrapped up in a few minutes here.
Yes.
Are you going to continue streaming, or are you...
No, I
Packing
will
up as
also
well?
raid out with you.
All right. So, I'm just going to take off what I've got here. And then I think let's hop off call, and then we can both do our end of biddies stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you
Thank you so much for...
joining me.
Yes, likewise. Thank you so much for the company. It was lovely having you.
Yes. So everyone over on my stream, this has been MoonPhased. She is a wonderful streamer here on Twitch as well. You can go check her out at twitch.tv/MoonPhased. She's starting to do more cross-stitch streams, but if you are into FPS competitive games, stuff like that, she also does some amazing cozy gameplay of that. Makes it just seem really cozy, welcoming, and great for new people. So yeah, go check her out, and I will talk to you in a little bit, Moon. Okay, I'm gonna say goodbye.
Perfect. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, now it's just us. Thunderpup says this was fun. I'm excited to see more of you. Oh, thank you so much. Well, there's a bunch of places you can check me out. Toot's putting up a ton of links in the chat. I do have a YouTube channel where all of the replays for all of my streams are available. So if you just need some background noise, that's a great thing to throw up on the screen. I also have a bi-weekly crafting podcast, and every other week I try to do smaller crafting videos. The last one I put up was actually a tutorial on how I finished this freebie from my coffee shop as a pin. So you can grab the pronoun moth pattern from the coffee shop and then follow the tutorial for finishing it in a variety of ways. So yeah, but thank you, Thunderpuff, for the follow. Thank you, Midnight, for the follow. Thank you, Midnight, for the raid. And thank you, everybody, for joining myself and Moon here tonight. It's been a very lovely, chill evening, exactly what we need. We'll be back on Friday. Friday is going to be the normal time of 6:30. So 6:30 to 8:30-ish here on Twitch and YouTube. And we're going to be doing a design with me. So that means that I'm going to be doing some cross-stitch design and just taking you along with me, showing you how I use it. We're going to be using a free tool on Friday called Stitch Fiddle. So if you're interested in cross-stitch design, but you don't want to pay for a program just yet, then I will show you how to use a very great free program. All right, so everybody on Twitch, say goodbye to everybody on YouTube. Everybody on YouTube, say goodbye to Twitch. YouTube, I will see you on Twitch. I'll see you in Discord. I will see you in the comments. And as always, I will see you in my heart. All right. Bye, YouTube. Bye-bye.